A very good afternoon to all of you once again. We welcome you to the United Kingdom Investment Summit 2025. It has been an amazing day so far. We have with us for the next session Mr. Rishi Raj from Settleezee. So this session is dedicated more towards the relocation and settlement space. So without much ado, let me invite Mr. Rishi Raj to discuss in detail. Mr. Rishi Raj, welcome to the UK Investment Summit.
Hi, Mayank. Thank you so much for having me here. Absolutely. It's a pleasure and honor to be part of this elite platform, and happy to take on any queries and any questions. And I'll try to the best of my ability to answer all these questions and whatever we have.
Fantastic. We are even glad ourselves also to have you with us, sir. So moving forward, I would request all our subscribers before starting this particular session to kindly practice your due diligence before making any kind of investment decisions. We always say that these seminars or summits that we do are majorly meant for educational purposes. So this is meant for you to understand things better and how you can actually implement that in your future investments. So moving forward, sir, I would request you and would like to ask you about since you are one of the respected leaders in the relocation and settlement space. Could you take us through your career and with the vision that shaped the Settleezee business itself?
Yes, Mayank. I think so. First and foremost, it's very important that when you look at all these areas of, when you say immigration, resettlement, the first thing we have in mind, whom do we talk to? Whom do we speak to? Are they reliable? Are they trustworthy? All these questions come in mind. And, by nature, as an Indian, I would say that these questions always crop up in every mind. And whether you do a simple service, it could be, getting your house clean, getting a car servicing done, sending your kid to a school or academy. You always look at the legacy or the creditworthiness or let's say the trustworthiness, the brand name, everything. So it's pertinent to look at these things. And of course, real estate also comes into the same. When you buy or sell anything, you always want to deal with people whom you know. And that's why the reference always plays an important part at least in our part of the world, where everybody looks at some reference, some help. Whether you walk into a bank, whether you walk into any kind of government offices, you look at that who's the face who can help me without any hassles. Having said that, Mayank, I have been a career banker. I started my career with HDFC Bank in 2003, and I served the bank for almost 2 decades. And I think so that's one stamp which is there with us, which I carry as a pride, that I have a banker and people trust bankers. And, when it comes to any kind of advice, any kind of, so when I say advice, of course, it's always a kind of right advice what we give to our clients, whether it was wealth management, whether it was banking, product, services, credit. Always people first, customers look at the right advice. Then there comes the point of selling or execution.
Absolutely.
So I think this is an important part. So I worked with the bank I have a corporate history of almost 27 years. Out of that, 20 years worked with HDFC Bank, one of the largest and leading bank in India, as you know. And then I wanted to do an entrepreneur journey. I started my entrepreneur journey. I formed this company called Settleezee. And the whole objective of getting into the space, which is very different from what I was doing and what I'm going to do. But that at the end of the day, I always feel that there is always a space for good players to enter into a market, whether market is crowded, not crowded. We always knew that we were going to have an intense competition from some large players who are cash rich, because this industry actually is a very cash rich industry. But, money was never the motivation. The motivation was to give a right advice, whether it is a student, whether it is a tourist, or whether it is an investor who are looking for this. And all these three, let's say, the client base looks at a right advice. And if you look at this space, in fact, data, there are data which are published by some independent agency. I don't say any embassy publishes it, but there has been a kind of a massive rejection rate on visas, or as simple as tourist visas. which is a no-brainer. I would say no-brainer. But yes, there are agencies, there are people, there are travel companies who help people to file a travel tourist visa, so-called visitor visa. People default there also. And there could be a problem. That means the right advice was not given to the client.
Very true.
So there is a gap. There is a gap in this industry. And, that's why, as I say, as a banker, because of the legacy which I had, thanks to my employer, HDFC Bank, people trust whatever advice we give, people trust. And that's why we wanted to create a space where any student, whoever comes for pre-counseling session, what course to study, where to go, which university, which part of the world, what will I do after my completion my course, right from pre-counseling to the visa stage and up to the post landing, everything is, kind of, let's say there are I would say there are multiple, stakeholders involved here. So it's important that the journey is smooth, because at the end of the day, there's the student who wants to start a new life, a new career. And
Absolutely.
if they go wrong at the first stage, then entire career can be impacted. And it's just not one person, the life of the family also gets impacted, because studying abroad is not an easy thing. It's still one of the most, I would say, aspirational thing for a lot of Indians to study abroad. There's a huge cost involved. So we don't want that anything should go wrong there at the counseling stage, because at the end of the day, it's somebody's hard-earned money. We understand. When it comes to tourist visa, also people have expectation. They dream with their family to move, to make holidays, but somebody guided them wrong on documents, not presented it properly, not taken due care. The form was filled in a hurry with a lot of mistakes. Visa rejected. Again, kind of dream shattered. You then look at some other countries, so it's somewhere, you start getting, compromising. So at Settleezee, the idea was that we will never compromise on quality. Our intent has to be right, and we will advise correctly. Again, as I said, advice is important. Selling is next.
Absolutely. I really appreciate, because the whole idea here is to first of all have that kind of an image of genuinity for anything that you do, and that only comes through a good advice. And I always suggest all our subscribers to kindly take 2 or 3 or 4 advices wherever required. Don't just blindly follow or accept whatever the concerned person is saying in front of you. Take second advice or third advice to get a better idea of the situation as well. So moving forward, it's a very interesting subject that I actually went through your website. It says pairing client with buddies. So can you just throw some light? What exactly does that mean?
Yeah. So the whole idea, Mayank, as I said, form an immigration company. Of course, there are multiple players, but an immigration company with a difference. So we always knew that there is a big gap from a pre-departure stage to a post-landing space. So the whole idea where we wanted to build this company was, of course, pre-departure, because you are there. At the end of the day, you are at the ground. You are talking to the customer, you're talking to the parents, or you're talking to the investor, you're talking to the direct customer.
Yeah.
At that stage, when the family is talking to you, or when an individual is talking to you, he or she has full faith, because you are sitting in front of them, you're talking to them in live flesh and blood. But what happens once you land there? Who will take care of that? So the idea was, we always wanted to create that space where we are able to take care of the family, whether it's immigration, whether it's student going, that there is a hand holding right at the stage where somebody lands at the airport. And when we always looked at a cycle of a person, of a life cycle, that it's a 16 or maybe 17 or 18-year-old kid, child, I would say, who is going abroad for his studies or her studies. And I'm assuming that by and large, looking at the Indian, demographics, a 17, 18-year-old kid would have not traveled the world. At the max, 2 or 3 countries with the parents. Very privileged ones travel every year. But for Indians, foreign holidays comes after a long gap. Absolutely. But having said that, even an experienced person, I would say, a kind of a regular traveler, whenever they land at the airport, there is a butterfly in the stomach that, oh God, I've landed. Where will I get a taxi? who will be there at the airport to receive me. I hope that I don't get into a wrong train, wrong bus, wrong taxi, because
True.
everything's, because the moment you land in a foreign country, there is a huge cost involved, starts
Yeah. True. Very true.
costs, and you don't want to do that. So we thought that we will engage with the people who have already reached there, and nobody can be better than the buddies. Let's say there could be a students studying in the same college or maybe unibs, and they all
Mhm.
look for some part-time opportunities. Everybody wants to earn, everybody wants to be financially independent, not to
True.
become a burden on the parents who are actually taking care of their lodging need, boarding need, and like tuition fees. They want to
Mhm.
understand that, okay, let's try to take this, day-to-day expenses can be taken care of. So we thought that buddy system will really help. And the student will always speak the language of student. They will always
Mhm.
give a right. Again, when you land in a country, you
True.
handhold them properly. No chances of misguidance. So that was
Mhm.
a buddy system which we started in Canada first, because Canada was always I would say, a preferred place for a lot of Indian students to study. So that
Mhm.
concept started from there. We engaged with a couple of students there, and that's where we started this buddy concept. Of course,
Fantastic.
and I think so. This concept was probably, it germinated from our corporate culture,
Um,
when we call them mentors, mentoring.
yeah.
Even when I joined the bank, of course there was that time bank was not doing that mentor or mentoring concept, but I was always like given, okay, fine, this person will handhold you, so be attached with him, ask him for any queries. You want to apply for leave, you want to get to know about why salaries is a problem, if anything related to any transaction, banking, customer, software, talk to this
Mhm.
person. So I think so that was the idea, that
Fantastic, fantastic. In fact,
they
if
should.
you see the Indian Army situation also, so they also have this buddy system where they have two people working jointly. So I completely understand where it came from.
Yeah.
So, so
Yes.
moving forward, I mean, this is something that I've already answered in majority of your discussions right now, but still to understand better, you keep on helping a lot of Indian students and professionals to relocate and thrive in UK. Is there anything specific you want to mention that we have missed out till now?
So when we talk about UK settlement, yes, I would say that especially for students, you know, see, this is it's definitely a very different world. What
Yeah.
was last year, it's not the same. A lot of water has flown below the bridge. So still there are students and there are families and there are counselors back in India which still feel that UK is the same what 5 years back. Or UK is not the same even last year.
Mhm.
Everything is, it's a very dynamic world, what you call it now, VUCA world. So even
Yeah.
UK is also changing, the landscape is changing, the expectations are changing. My only advice, especially for the students who want to study here, so there
Yeah.
is a concept called study and settle. Now there are two different things. You have to understand, you have to keep your vision very clear, whether you're
Mhm.
coming here to study or you're coming here to settle. If the vision is to study and settle, that's fine, no problem. You're absolutely on the right path. But check with the counselors, talk to them, have a long hours of discussion. In India, I
Mhm.
don't see any consultant charging you per hour basis, unlike other
Mhm.
countries. So you can have hearty chats with your counselors, with your parents, with your peers, that what will I do once I complete my course? Because
Mhm.
jobs are not in abundance. It's not a, I
Absolutely.
would say, it's a shrinking economy right now.
True, true,
But
true. Very true.
but I always give one advice to all my students, because everybody has to be financially independent. You will pick up
Yeah.
some odd jobs. That could be a barista job, could be working in a store as a salesman or as a sales girl, working in any pizza shop, McDonald's, whatever you can think of. There are many part-time jobs available for students. If you know that you're going to do this job, might as well pick up some skills in India, because getting trained in India is cheaper and much more effective. Because once you
Absolutely.
land here and you know that, okay, fine, I'm going to do a barista job, might as well do a 1 month course, a barista job, how to prepare a coffee, how to make a tea, how to serve. It helps, because you will save on the cost. Because if you come here, the employer may ask you, okay, do you have a certificate? Do you have some skill training?
Mhm.
It all comes handy.
I think that's a very good suggestion you have made to all the people who are watching right now, because I think that is required. I mean, any organization for that matter requires people who are skilled to a certain extent. You might not be like Jack of the trade itself, but of course, something that we are looking at is you should have some knowledge of what you're going to do in future. So I think it's a very good advice which you have offered to people who are watching
In
us right
fact,
now.
yeah, Mayank, I would say, I can, let's say, if there are any prospective students, well, I will tell them that once to Indeed, go to Monster, whatever the popular job sites in UK,
Yeah,
especially UK, when you're talking about UK context, look
yeah,
at the kind of jobs available part-time,
yeah,
full-time. Of course,
yeah.
full-time you won't be allowed because you are on a student. You have a law which restricts your working hours. Okay,
Absolutely.
yeah, but look at that. I can tell you that, let's say, because I come from a banking background, I understand. But there are thousands of jobs available in UK on KYC.
Mm-hmm.
How to do a KYC of a customer. Yeah, I know it's all
Exactly.
automation, but KYC, anti-financial crime, money laundering. Pick up these
Mhm.
courses, do these small courses, build up your skill. There are
Interesting.
jobs, but the problem is that people, when the students lands here, why they
Mm-hmm.
end up doing sometime odd jobs. I don't say there is a dignity of labor, amazing dignity of labor. There are people in Canada, students in Canada who go to and maintain the garden and the lawn. Somebody who's very fond of horticulture might do this kind of work. It's not bad.
Absolutely.
Pick up a machine on rent. Even you buy the machine, it's got 50 to 100 pound. You get a land or grass mowing machine.
That's
You
one
keep it as an
machine.
asset. You earn something like 30 to 40 pounds an hour in this country.
Fantastic.
But
Fantastic.
develop that skill.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
nothing better to come you take this tuition class or learn. Do a small accounting course.
Yeah.
Do a
Yeah.
small tally course. Do a small courses, 1 month, 2 months. Don't sit idle. If when you know that there is a time between your application and to visa decision,
Mhm.
there could be something, anything between 1 to 3 months. Between
True.
that time, build up that skill.
Absolutely. I completely second your thought. I think this is the best way to move forward because by the time you are in UK, you are already pretty much skilled to be hired by anybody in the country itself. So that eases a lot of stuff, and I think Settle Easy is all about that itself.
Yeah, and Mayank, this advice I would also give it to to a lot of working professionals who come
Yeah.
on a skill visa and their
Mhm.
spouses, whether they are sitting at home,
Yeah.
and that's where the kind of, let's say, you get to, you start getting edgy. You are
Yeah.
restless, what to do the
Very.
whole day. The let's say the husband or the wife are working, and of course
Mhm.
there are shared kind of responsibilities. Best
Yeah.
is pick up the some kind of skills, find out. And it's very easy today in the world of internet. You can easily find out what kind of jobs are available and where I can
Yeah.
fit myself.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Completely second it, sir. So moving forward, specifically when it comes to universities or institutional partnerships, I mean, are you in touch with quite a few in terms of helping people
Yes,
out? Okay,
yes,
okay. Can
yes,
you
we
throw some light on that? What all institutions and universities normally work with you for this particular project?
So yeah, so again, man, again in this entire education space, the landscape has changed. Uh, all the good universities. When I say the top 20 universities or top 20 ranking universities in UK, normally they don't work on a agent or a consultant model. You
Hmm.
go and apply them directly. But there and there again, UK has got thousands of private colleges, good colleges. They have a tie-up. We do a tie-up, and there again there is an aggregator model here. There are a lot of good companies, I would say, good tech companies which are prevalent in this space,
Hmm.
where basically where you share the credentials of the student. You
Hmm.
feed in the data, and you get the details that where all this student can study, what scholarship, what not. But at the same time, again, I'm saying it's not the AI or the machine learning model. It's here again the counselor role comes into play. At what universities would be good for you, which have a good visa success rate. It's very important.
Okay, okay.
Lot of agents misguide. Every
Ab-
university has a kind of a success rate, because at the end of the day there are two legs to this transaction. One, where a university will give you an offer letter to study, but at
Mhm.
the other end is the visa officer, also called entry clearance officer, who
Mhm.
will decide that whether you want to come to my country or no. So there are two
Okay.
different, but of course one has to be very clear, and one has
Yeah.
to be very cautious about dealing with. But yes, we do. Yes, like Russell Group is a very famous group in UK. They own one of the top leagues universities of UK, not just in UK, in Ireland also.
Oh, interesting. Interesting.
Yeah,
There are certain FAQs that we have jotted down for you, and we thought it would be good to get the answers for the same.
sure.
First of all, we got how was the demand for post-arrival services change in UK relocation ecosystem over the last few years?
See, post landing, again, as I said, there are no players in this industry, no organized player which gives you that kind of service that right from the airport, somebody will pick you, drop you to the place, and there are multiple microservices which can be built on
Yeah.
post landing. Yes, the challenging part, I would say, is the real estate.
Okay.
Today, when you land in UK, because of the so much of influx of students from all over the world, it's just not India. I think the UK attracts anything between 5 to 7 lakh students every year from all part of the world. Asian economy do contribute to a larger extent. So you can imagine that there is always a crisis of getting a decent accommodation.
Accommodation, true.
So here we have tie-ups with certain players. As a company, we give local guarantee. We provide, we act as a local guarantor, of course, with profile check, deduped by our partners in India, that yes, there will be no problem, if you onboard that student, because the tenancy laws are very strict in this country. If you do any minor misconduct, it can lead to deportation also. So one has to be very clear.
Fantastic. You just mentioned about your partners in India for your due diligence. Which is the organization that you work with?
No, so I'm saying that once we do a pre-counseling session,
Okay.
we have our own model where we work with the clients. When we talk to them, we check all their documents, we check the papers. We also take, let's say, the confirmation from the banks that all these documents are authentic.
Of course. That's the best way to move forward, I believe.
In fact, just to give you a small, a kind of maybe a little 30-second digressing from the topic, not related to UK, but in Australia, we are working with an app. It's an app which we are marketing in India to B2B. This app it's called MIST, MIST, and it's basically a one super app where all the services are built in: student accommodation, travel insurance, remittance of fees, getting an education loan, getting an accommodation in Australia. And this app, what does it do? This app, whenever the funds or a proof of funds are given by the parent to this company, they do a back check from the bank, and then in turn they inform the Australian High Commission that yes, these funds are all okay, all authentic, and basis that Australian High Commission grants visa to the student.
Interesting. I think that really eases out the whole process, and that's the best way of taking technology into account, I believe.
Exactly.
So the next is an interesting question, but I think quite a few people must have this in mind, that are you seeing an increased demand from families or professionals seeking long-term residency in UK, and how do you support them?
Yes. So everybody dreams and aspire to be part of a growing economy or developed economy. Nothing wrong. One should aspire. Why not? It's not, you are not showing any kind of, let's say, loyalty to a country. No. There's always opportunities. But in last, post-COVID, things have changed. The world has changed. The world order has changed. Immigration, of course, with this, the influx of people, immigrants, have always has been impacted to a great extent, because the economies have shrunk. Whether it is UK, whether it is USA, whether it's Australia, whether it's Canada, the economies have shrunk, and the locals are getting more vociferous that their jobs are being snatched away by the immigrants. However said that, whatever said, but there's always all the countries run different kind of programs to support good talent to come to the country and contribute to the economy. The tagline is that if you know what you want to do, if you know how you can contribute to the economy, every country will welcome you. But by simply saying that, okay, you come and invest, I think so that's not where everybody should feel, because once you come here, it's a cultural difference. There is a difference of everything. You can imagine, let's say, if it's a 35 or a 40-year-old person who wants to migrate to any country,
Yeah.
you need to start with giving a driving test lesson. You have to appear for a theory test. You may flunk one or twice. Then you have to appear for a practical test where your driver will, where an expert will sit with you and he will check how you are driving the car. And the rejection rates are pretty high. It's as high as 60 to 70% in UK. So you have to unlearn everything. So the challenge starts from there. It's just not about, you have to just fit into this entire culture. And I'm not talking about UK. You go to Africa, you go to Europe, you move to any Schengen state which welcomes you. Everybody has their program, but it's complete mental makeup
I see.
which is required. And I would suggest that whenever somebody is looking at it, please make sure of all these things. Children may gel fast, but it's always a challenging task for people to really, be a part of that fabric.
Yeah, that's true.
But yes, UK has program. UK runs various programs, innovation visa. They have a skill visa. They have a global talent visa. They have investment programs. But please be clear that every investor should keep in mind, what am I going to do? How am I going to change myself and the country whom I'm going to contribute? That's important.
I see. Interestingly, I've asked this question to one of our previous partners, also speakers. Also, I would like to ask the same question to you: is UK only meant for the top tier investors, and mid-size is only meant for Europe and other parts of the world?
No, I would not say. But what UK has restricted its programs. UK is not welcoming, I would say, immigrants as of now. There were certain programs which were being run by the government till about 5-7 years back, and every time the government changes, they bring their immigration is one of the hot topic, which is kind of a dissent topic for every parliament to discuss, especially the illegal. I'm not talking about illegal migration here. It's all legal migration. But yes, UK as of now have curtailed their programs. So the only program which is being run is the innovation program.
I would like to caution all our subscribers. We are only talking about legal migration in all our sessions.
Yes.
There are no two questions about it.
No way. And one should not even attempt. It's definitely not worth it also.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Can you, of course, we have taken a lot of your time, but it will be interesting to get some success stories from you about people who have come to you and you have Settleezee have transformed the whole experience of relocating themselves in UK. If you can give one or two examples, I think that will be great for our audience.
Yeah, students, our core business has always been on student side, and right again, as I said, it's not the course selection, it's not the it's right from the pre-counseling state, because students, class 12 students, when they come, they're always in a confused state. Science somebody wants to, from a STEM, would like to do, sometimes they just want to change the line. But at that level, I think so that's where we as a counselors, or we as a company, we as a professionals, give them right advice. Now with right selection of college, right selection of the country, the budget, of course, budget is always a constraint. Doing a 3-year course in UK, which is, let's say, a undergrad course, Mayank, in UK, in a normal university, I'm not talking about the King's College or the Oxford and the Trinity and the Cambridge, any good college, good ranking college, UK, a 3-year study with a kind of current foreign exchange rate which is going on, it has gone horribly high. It's now trading at 113, 114, what it was 3 years back, 94. You are looking at minimum investment of 1 CR of study.
Okay.
That's the tuition fees which one is going to pay up, not taking up any other lodging and boarding expenses. That's different. But so that's where our counseling comes in place. We tell them what universities to pick, what budget to look at, and what programs to look at, which basically develops that person's ability and skill and nurtures that skill. And once, because of course, you always look at two things: ROC, return of capital,
Absolutely.
and return on capital. Return of capital is also important, because at the end of the day, parents have to pay, or somebody has to clear up the bank loan or education loan, which means you are giving a right advice. So once the student lands here, we have, let's say, I would say, of course, it's not easy to name, not pertinent also to name students, but yes, students have landed here. We have helped them find an accommodation right from airport pickup, giving them meal card, giving them travel card, hand-holding them for 1 to 3 days, giving them a city tour, and helping them polish off their CVs so that they get a job. It's very important. And that's why I made out that point, that I also realized that getting a skill in India, enroll yourself in any of the good institutes, do some short-term courses, online, offline, doesn't matter, but do that and then come, then the transition is important. It's easy.
Very, very interesting. So before we conclude, there is one question that I want to ask you is, any piece of advice you would like to give upcoming investors who are looking forward to settle in UK, whether they are a student or any professional who's looking for that? And how do you see the future of investments in UK?
Okay, so UK has undergone recently, there's a new Labour government, and yet to see any kind of, let's say, emphatic programs being, announced by the government. As of now, this is something which is really, I would say, not touched upon topic. Only thing they have been battling with is illegal immigration, what we have discussed. So no point dwelling on that point again, because that's not the forum is for. But the advice is that if student wants to come again, study and settle, when you're coming for study and settle program, of course, UK gives you, as of now, as on date, while speaking to you, UK gives you a 2-year work permit, which is called post-study work permit, PSW, very popular term, PSW. Students, after qualifying, they should get a right score. They should not be there, and there is a checklist by the government. So if you think that you have bunked the university, you have not been on a proper attendance, you are flunked in any top, till the time you have a rightful degree in your hand, you cannot apply for PSW. That's very clear. So it is the immigration and the school will talk, the college or the unit will talk to each other, and then only you will get a PSW. PSW gives you entitlement to stay in UK. You have to pay for that PSW, mind you. It's not free. You have to apply for your visa. There's a fees attached. There's NHS fees attached. You stay here for 2 years. Find a prospective employer who can sponsor your visa. It's very important. But at the same time, you don't get restricted by where I can work. You can work anywhere. But the kind of skills which you have acquired in past 3 years, or let's say masters, or even if you're doing PhD, you have to align yourself with that skill and get a job. So getting a right employer is very important. It's a challenging environment as of now, but there are areas like financial engineering, financial models, actuarial science, underwriting, renewable energy, recycle. I would say, what do you call something which is something on environment, anything which is on a recycle industry, I would say. That's the future. Automation is the future of every, I would say, not just UK, but for every economy. So if you are good at that, there are jobs, and there are plenty of jobs available for the right set of skills. For investors, again, there are programs being run. You have to be, if you are looking at innovator model, look at that innovation visa. You are able to bring something on digital, something on health, something on renewable energy, recycling. It's there. There is a future. There is a future.
Fantastic. I think it was a very interesting discussion for people who are actually looking to settle and relocate to UK. And I hope that our subscribers could enrich their knowledge about the whole process, how things normally function. But still, if you have any kind of questions which you need to get answered for, you can put it in the comment box, or you can mention it on the Q&A on the platform if you're watching it from our virtual platform itself. So with this, we thank you, Mr. Rishi Raj, for your time. It was really nice to have you with us. And we really hope that we get to have more such sessions with you where we talk more about investments in UK and how one can ease their journey in terms of relocation and settlement in UK itself.
Yes, Mayank, that's very important. Again, because being an Indian, I understand the pain of every parent. I understand the aspirations of every parent. I understand the dreams of every student. But at the same time, when you look at the grass is always greener on the side, it's a very famous saying. Yes, it is. But it doesn't come with, any kind of freebies. There are no free lunches. There are hard work. But at the same time, every country offers you exciting opportunities. If you are true to your work, if you are true to yourself, you need to acquire a right skill set, a right and positive mindset. That's all the basic ingredients that every student and every parent should look at. I always say, get a right skill set, get what, you should love what you should do, have a passion for that. Money is a byproduct. Money will anyway come.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That's not
Very
an
well.
issue.
Very well said. And just to add on what Sir has said, that please, please, please practice your due diligence before making any kind of investment decisions.
Yes.
Ultimately, it's hard money. This is something that you have been waiting for, and something that you are aspiring for. So it's always better to take a second or third opinion as well. So with this, we once again thank you, sir, and look forward to connecting in future very soon.
Thank you, man. Thank you for having me here. It's a pleasure to address here, and it's an honor. Thank you very much. Have a nice day.
You too. Thank you.